My Mom Found, Episode 3, coming at you today on January 27, 2019. Today is kind of a special episode. We were going to do this game a little bit later in our season, we can call it, but we're bringing it to you a little sooner because we need a little extra time. So we took a trip down to Gotham, and we are playing Batman by Sunsoft from 1990 for the Genesis. We're covering the Genesis one this time. My name is Mike Elberton, and who's with me today?
I'm with you today. My name is DJ Copeland.
And I am Stefan JD.
And I'm Stuart Hughes.
All right, this week was a one that Stefan had picked also. If you want to introduce this game and why you made us play this, go right on.
The introduction is going to be longer than the game.
All right, so it's kind of no surprise that pretty much all of us here grew up with the Batman, Tim Burton's Batman, or one of the other ones. Either it was Batman or Batman Returns, but licensing and games even goes back that far, and as usual, it's never always the best combination. Though I will say, I started out playing the Batman NES game when I was probably like 4 or 5. And this specific game, the Genesis version, I actually didn't know existed until one day I went into a used video game store and found it. So it was kind of quite a shock to me because this is the type of thing where you love a version of something so much, like the NES game, but then all of a sudden you find out there's a different version of it. So you get that excitement back again because you think it's going to be just as good. And I will say that this game, for me, is not a bad game. It's more of a mediocre platformer. But I understand that you guys have reservations.
Oh, yeah.
This game's a piece of work. This game's really something.
I didn't like. Well, I'll get right into it. Like, I want to say the second level when you first have to use the grappling hook to get over the crates. I didn't know what to do. I'm jumping. I can't make the jump. What's going on here? I had to watch a video. I'm like,
oh, I did the same thing. I had to look up a walkthrough. For Genesis
me too.
Because I was like, I don't know how to jump onto this box of.
I actually found out how to grapple on my own just by like messing with the controller long enough.
There's like a stack of like 8 boxes that you have to jump over an exploding pipe, and the game you have no indication that like you can even make it on the other side of the pipe.
Yep.
And so I got there 5 times and I was like, I don't know what's going on.
You can, if the pipe explodes, you can grapple up to the remains of the pipe.
Yeah, I found that out
and then you
later
can jump
in the game.
from there. But it's the jumping from there that I couldn't figure out. And I was like, oh, maybe there's a double jump. And there's a somersault that you can do in midair that propels you forward so you can clear the jump. Yeah, but like you have to do it really fast.
You have to do it like past when you think you should. Like you're jumping off the explosion.
You got to hit the button again. It was easier than Samus's spin jump, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's like you got to rapid fire it. You can't have that mentality that I think most of us have with double jumps in games where all right, I'm going to wait until I get to the top of the jump and I'm going to hit it again. If you wait that long, it's not going to happen.
Like a good game?
And also you have to be moving. You can't just double jump standing still. You
right.
have to be facing a direction.
Right. And so I didn't know that I could somersault because I kept like trying to do I kept pressing the jump button again in midair. And I didn't do anything. And then I found out, I'm not doing it fast enough. What the fuck?
And then you find out that the somersault can be used as an attack, but not against some enemies, only against certain minions. If you use it against a boss, they just bounce you right back off.
Here's the other thing. Here's the one thing you guys told me about this game before I played it. The one thing you guys told me was, oh yeah, you can jump on guys' heads like Mario. It's super weird.
That was Stefan, not anybody else. That was all Stefan. You could blame him for that one.
And it is okay. Here are the 3 ways, besides batarangs, which I guess we'll get into. Here are the 3 ways you kill people in this game. Here are the 3 main attacks you have. You either jump on their heads, kick their shins, or punch them in the knee. Yeah. Those are the 3 ways you're going to be able to damage anyone. Because if you actually just try to walk up to anybody and punch them like a normal person, you're going to get hit immediately.
Yeah.
Oh man,
My favorite was
it makes you feel so goofy because you just have to do the silliest things to avoid taking damage and actually like attack people. It's bananas. It's bananas. I have never felt this silly playing a game where I'm ostensibly being made to feel like Batman.
Isn't it
really feel like
Batman didn't feel too.
That's
It's
silly
like-
Batman.
somehow an older version of isn't that really old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game where you run around the streets punching people? It's like the arcade one.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, this is like an older version of that where you're only on a straight line and yet somehow it works even less
Like,
well.
That's what I didn't like. Oh, I should mention this before we get too much right. There will be spoilers for Batman Genesis, which nobody cares. Batman NES, which nobody probably cares.
It's the same story as the freaking movie.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
kind
almost.
of. Yeah.
By the way, very loosely speaking. By the way,
Oh, yeah.
But I really liked that. I really liked that you come across Jack Napier before you come across the Joker.
That
and you
was
jump
that
in
was
it.
cool.
that was actually pretty cool. It's like, oh, they're doing the origin story in the game.
Yeah,
That's
like the
pretty neat.
first level is you dunking him into the thing, and I was like, oh my god, like I'm coming around on this game. And then the second level started, and I was like, oh yeah, it's still the game.
Wasn't
Yeah.
that in the movie? When he falls?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It does happen in the movie. I just wasn't expecting it in the game.
Yeah.
I just
that
wasn't
was,
expecting. Well, I might have expected that to happen in a cutscene. I was not expecting to like dunk tank Jack Napier, like just
Yeah, one hit too.
dunk
You
of
just hit him with a
myself.
batarang and boom, he's in the acid.
which does not prepare you for the rest of the fucking battles in this game. It's just
Oh, okay. Every single boss battle in this game is just 100% arcade bullshit.
yeah,
It
and
is
they're all
just-
like knockoff like background characters from a Mortal Kombat game too, which I
Absolutely.
love.
You got
These guys are on loan from Double Dragon.
There's like
That's good. That's a very good. Yeah, that's a good point right there. That's what it felt like.
there's
That's
like
an apple.
beefy bald dude that walks into the frame with a boombox.
Hey,
And then-
he's from the
and
movie.
His opening attack is chucking it at you, which
Yeah.
I think is actually kind of wonderful.
And then he fights you
Yeah.
with like wrestling, like
Body slams you.
body slams you.
And
And like
all you
that's
have to
that's
do,
from the
all
movie.
you have to
Yeah.
do is wait until he lands and then jump on him, and then you just do that 50 times and he's dead.
I just
Oh
used-
God,
I just
I-
broke the
yeah,
game because I figured out that you could walk just slightly out of frame and back and get the batarang to respawn. And so I went into every boss fight with 99 batarangs.
Yeah, I didn't know
You can do
this.
that.
I would have loved this game a lot more if I would have known that.
Yeah. Because I was like, I suck at fighting games, so I was like, the only way I'm ever gonna beat this
This
is
wasn't
if
a
I
fighting
break
game.
it.
This
It's a
was,
fighting game.
Oh, this is give us
It's
something.
a
alright.
brawler.
It's
a
classified,
platform.
according to Wikipedia, it's classified as a run and gun, even though you do not have a gun and you do not run.
Hey, you
Your
can't
version-
run. You
Your version
cannot
was
run in this
Your version
game.
was gun at least. I can't run out of batarangs all the time. Like I got 5 batarangs. Oh, I hit him. Oh,
Let's talk
It's,
about that.
It's a
because-
lurch and punch.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Batman moves like Simon Belmont.
got a point. He really
The
does.
reason Simon Belmont worked in the Castlevania games was because his primary form of attack had range.
Mhm.
So it compensated for the fact that he couldn't move that well, and then he, attacked with a delay. Whereas here, your basic attack, it covers like an inch in front of you.
Mhm.
It's like nothing, and it
It's
lasts
fair.
like a quarter. It lasts like a hundredth of a second. Like your basic punch in this game is useless. The only way you'll ever hurt anyone is again either by jumping on them,
Oh.
punching them while crouching, or throwing a batarang, of which you only start with 5.
Unless
Yeah.
you're Stewart.
Unless you're Stewart and you know how to
Right.
break the game.
Man, if I would have known that, I would have enjoyed this game so much
Man,
more.
I would have been cruising. I would have been like, "Oh, this is great." It would have been a whole different game.
My favorite enemy is like random punk dude, like a homeless punk dude who runs at you in a pair. There's 2 of them that run at you and then they
know
slide
what you're
at you,
Yeah.
Oh,
Double
those guys.
dragon.
Yeah.
and you
Let's
just
just-
crouch and kick.
Yeah. Let's just run through our favorite enemy types. I like the guys in the sewer toward the end of the game. I think it's a sewer or before the
cathedral.
cathedral. Yeah. I like those guys who have guns who like crouch and shoot at you
Okay,
because
yeah.
I call because they look like Sean Hannity in a blue windbreaker, and it just made me so happy. It's like,
Oh,
there's
found
Sean
out-
Hannity.
He's super against Batman. I could see that.
Yeah, I could see it. I could see it.
He's really come out
Oh,
against these vigilantes in Gotham. They control the streets. He goes out there to stop.
we gotta stop him.
He actually wasn't part of Joker's like army. He was just a guy on the street trying to stop Batman.
He's a concerned citizen.
Oh man,
Batman.
you had the fire-breathing mimes. I mean, this game was. I mean, at least that fit the
Oh.
theme.
Oh,
of the
those.
game.
Oh, I hated those backflipping motherfuckers.
Oh,
they're
they were
awful.
not.
Yeah.
Those were the worst.
If I had
What I
battery-
hated was dude with two katanas for some reason who was like a member of
He
like
was
the
a-
hand
Oh,
that had
the
jumped
dude-
universes.
The dude who kept like somersault jumping at you, right?
Yeah.
So
He's
I
from the
found out.
movie.
I found
Yeah.
out a way to cheese him where you can force him off screen
Mhm.
and then he'll jump back on screen. And if you time it just right and you jump right before he does, you can knock him out of the sky and hurt him.
Okay.
And if you just keep doing that for like a minute, you win.
What I
But the
did was,
timing's really tough.
I
There
just
isn't even. There's so many ways to cheese every boss in this game. I kind of wish you guys were here, like playing it next to me, because I'm like super efficient at this game. Like I could play it with my eyes closed. So I just kind of wish I could have saw you guys actually playing this. I would have gave you tips the whole way.
I love the idea that you're the best Batman Genesis
man.
player on the planet right now.
Yeah,
One of the
I used
only
to play
ones,
this,
I
like,
think.
nonstop.
I mean, this game is not available. I'm pretty sure this game probably never got re-released outside the Genesis. Nothing, because it's a license.
Well, there's the NES version too.
Well, that's
Well,
a completely different game.
It's a
though.
completely different game.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of them. There's an arcade version in Japan, an arcade version here. There's one for the Famicom, Omega, I'm Game Boy.
Oh god, don't
Game-
even. We'll talk about the Game Boy one later, but oh.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Here's the other weird thing too, is that before we get to, get much further here, I wanted to bring this up, is that the release of this game, like the timing of the release of this game is really baffling to me, because the movie came out summer 1989,
Mhm.
which
Mhm.
the Genesis had come out in Japan the year before that.
Mhm.
And
Oh, I didn't. Yeah. I had
yeah,
it wrong.
and the game for some reason didn't come out in Japan until
next year.
1990,
Like almost a year.
and
later,
then it didn't come out in America until 1991.
I suspect because I was looking this up as well. I was really curious about this. I suspect it was they put out the game, and then somebody told like one of the producers at WB, because this was right at the very beginning of like the WB Batman franchise, that, oh hey, you can license video games and they're super cheap to make and sell.
So they were just kind of late to the party, is
Yeah.
what you're saying.
Well,
And
the
then they were
one
like,
for-
well, we can make this in like a couple months. Like I don't want to assume that production on this game took.
Well, it was also made
I
for
was gonna say,
it
there's
was
no
sunset.
way this thing took 2 years to develop.
Yeah,
Like-
no, it couldn't have.
the music was really good. That probably took the longest to like write and everything.
Yeah.
But
The music, by the way, which sounds nothing like Batman music.
No,
it just
it's
sounds
very
like
much
it just
Genesis
sounds like
music.
Sunsoft Genesis music.
It
But-
was not.
it came out in 1990 in Japan, and then it came out in 1991 in North America. And I think what had happened there was the producers said, "Hey, we released this game in Japan, and we have Batman Returns coming out in '92. What can we do to like keep Batman in the public eye while waiting for Batman Returns?" And they were like,
Very
"Oh, hey,
good
we've
point.
got this Japanese release game. Let's just go ahead and translate it and put it in English and put it out to the public."
That's
That
just
makes
so.
sense.
Yeah, I just don't know why they wouldn't have wanted to release it in the U.S. right away.
Mhm.
It's weird.
I mean, there couldn't have been that much translating there, or just
Yeah,
a little bit. of
there's
text.
like, there's so little text in this game. It's an hour long. It's just a series of hallways where you punch people. There's not much dialogue going on.
You get the movie. Oh, the NES one did come out in 1990 in February, and the Game Boy
Okay.
one came out in June 1990. So you would have
Okay.
had something a little bit after the movie,
They
but
probably took some time to port it, I guess.
That-
yeah.
But it's not a port. It was developed for the
was
I'm just
completely
baffled here because it's just so.
Yeah,
and
there's
it's-
different versions. Like the games themselves are pretty much the same, but just like more story and stuff, right?
Well,
It's like
no,
added.
So,
Yeah,
no,
completely.
the NES game is totally completely different.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a
completely
platformer.
different game. It's actually
Oh,
a much
okay.
better game.
yeah, it is.
It's more challenging. I mean, see, this one is hard, but it's like bullshit hard. It's
yeah.
not
Oh yeah.
genuinely it's not genuinely challenging. It's just it
Oh,
just
okay.
throws shit at you that you can't possibly avoid.
I just looked it up. The NES one is the one with purple Batman.
Yep, the famous purple Batman.
Yeah. Yeah. I
NES
never
one-
played that one, but I've seen the screenshots and like gifs of it and stuff.
I was trying
it's
to
so
beat
good,
it.
Stuart.
I was trying to beat it for the show, but I couldn't get past Firefly in the first boss fight, even with save states. I'm like, screw this game. I'll
Oh,
play it,
yeah.
and I never
Yep.
got back to it.
That's basically my experience. I also tried to play that this week, and I was like, well, I got to the first boss. I'm satisfied.
I'll have to go back and try it.
That is, by
NES
the way,
Batman.
really cool that they actually like put Firefly in there as the boss. I was not expecting them to like. This is
Killer
not
Moth. Sorry, it's Killer Moth, not
Oh,
Firefly.
it's,
Close enough, but
oh,
Killer
is
Moth.
it- they're the same guy.
Well, I was looking up a lot about this because I think the WB Batman franchise is great. All of them, even the terrible, shitty Mr. Freeze one, Batman and Robin, and Batman Forever, and everything.
Oh god.
And so I was looking up everything about this game, and at some point I read that in the Batmobile segment, Batman and Vicky Vale are escaping from the Joker in the Batmobile. Did you get that at all playing that level? You just start
I
in the
didn't.
Batmobile.
I didn't
You
read.
just
There's
did-
a little cutscene. I didn't read it though. I
There's
just-
there's a
click, click.
cutscene. I guess that's right after the level where you like save her, right?
That's after
I
the
guess it's
museum, yeah.
implied.
It
Yeah.
just showed them
Yeah.
escaping on the grappling hook as a little like cutscene going away from the Joker.
Okay.
There's no,
Yeah.
you don't see them. There's no like little cutscene of him with like her flung over his shoulder, like
We gotta
then
stop saying
like
cutscene
jumping
'cause
into the
it's
Batmobile
stills.
cockpit.
It's like
You gotta
a
watch the
single
movie while you're
frame
playing
of-
the game.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a companion piece.
it's a companion piece.
Yeah.
You have to pause and make sure you pick it up at the right action sequences.
Exactly.
Pop in
yeah.
your VHS tape and start watching it. And then, okay, now time to switch the other thing out. Yeah.
But you're like, it's also said like you're escaping from the Joker. But the sense I got from that level is like the Joker just uses this highway and you are just decimating his forces, just killing them. Like not even like remorselessly blowing up vehicles with
I
the guys
mean,
inside,
let's
shooting
be
missiles at
fair.
them.
That's 100% true to the movies.
It's true.
Yeah,
yeah.
it is. He just
Batman,
drives
Batman
through,
is a
blows.
remorseless killer.
I love this
in
idea
all
that
of these
Batman,
movies.
like everyone always goes, "Oh, Batman doesn't kill; he's moral." But then you look at any of the movies, and he is just like snapping people's spines.
Well, not really in the Dark Knight movies as much, but the original Batman movie,
I would-
Batman Returns,
well, the
killing
Dark
everybody.
Knight movies, he doesn't because the choreography is shit. I'm just gonna come out right
Oh,
now. I hate the Dark
yeah.
Knight
You
movies.
wound me. You wound me.
I'm not a big fan of the Dark Knight movies either. I think the best one of the trilogy was the first one.
I also think the best one was the first one.
Yeah.
The second look,
That was the only one that was actually a Batman movie.
the second one. No one's ever gonna say that Heath Ledger's Joker wasn't fantastic. It
Oh,
was
yeah, but
really,
it
really
was-
good.
My
But-
opinion was the only thing that carried that movie.
Yeah. Tell me anything in The Dark Knight that wasn't the Joker. Tell me anything that happens that wasn't somehow directly related to the Joker or had him on screen. You just can't.
He was in most of that movie.
Batman, Christian Bale, and what's her face looked sad in like the wreckage of his house once, I think.
Yeah.
Right? And he was like,
And there's just he doesn't have an arc. He has no arc in that movie.
he has no like.
He gets to watch TV a lot, though.
It's
that
true.
Everybody
like-
gets to watch TV in that movie.
He is like Christian Bale has the terrible disadvantage of being surrounded by all these actors with like so much charisma, and then he's playing like this gritty, crappy Batman that's just like got the worst voice that just has no on-screen presence when he's not like when he's not framed a very specific way.
I'm a big fan of Batman Begins. I like Batman Begins and Dark Knight. I hate Dark Knight Rises though. That movie.
Dark
just-
Knight Rises.
Oh,
I was angry leaving
Me
the
too.
theater for Dark Knight Rises.
You can
I
watch-
feel like I felt like I had been robbed of a good Batman movie.
I think the reason like Batman Begins is so good, at least to me, is that it's more of like an X-Men movie, like an early X-Men movie, where it's more about like battling ideologies than it is.
Well, I
Bunch of
mean
people.
first of all, that's kind of Christopher Nolan's whole thing.
I also hate Christopher Nolan though. So
Me too. Man, if we could high five right now.
You're closer than we are.
He is like the quintessential like pretentious douchebag. Of like I don't know. I think like Stanley Kubrick is an awful human being and a total douchebag. But Stanley Kubrick's movies are good enough to warrant him being that. Whereas like Memento is like good in its gimmick, and then like The Prestige is like a fine movie. But then like Dark Knight Rises, like people are falling off of screen even though Batman hasn't touched them. Like they're acting like they just got punched in the face. And it's like, if you're gonna pretend like you're Stanley Kubrick, you need to have the same kind of like eye as Kubrick and see the tiny details like that aren't even that small. Like, hey, there's this glaring plot hole or this. Oh,
there's a lot
mistake.
in that movie. Oh god, Dark Knight Rises. That just everything. Like, that's not even Bane in that movie. Man. I know they say it's Bane, but it's a guy put on a mask and talk stupid. That's all it was. It wasn't Bane.
Yeah, that was a young Sean Connery.
Yeah,
just doing some stuff.
I'll give him credit for. I imagine there was a lot of studio interference at that point, and he probably just didn't give a shit anymore.
I like Catwoman in that movie, but she wasn't really Catwoman either. She was just.
She wasn't. She was just some lady.
Does anyone
she was Anne Hathaway in a nice suit.
Does anyone actually call her Catwoman, or do they all just call her Miss Kyle? I don't think anyone even calls her Selena. I think they all call her Miss Kyle.
I haven't seen the movie in years. I stayed away from that one.
And then you have the Joseph Gordon-Levitt character, and that's the name drop. Is like at the very end, he's like, "Oh, they called me Robin." I'm like, I wanted to scream bullshit at the screen.
At no point was his name
You're
Robin.
Not Robin. Fucking bullshit. You are not Robin.
They call me. Yeah. None of the Robins' first names have ever been Rob. Like, it would have been so much better if he was just like the name's Dick, and he walked out. And we're like, oh, that's Robin. Like everyone, it was like he thought everyone was an idiot. Like no one would make the
Robin
connection.
Was like a nickname or something.
Yeah, just like
I can't even remember.
It's just like treating your audience like an idiot. Of like they call me Robin, like the superhero Robin. It's like get ready for that sequel that's never going to come out.
Oh,
Teen
man.
Titans.
Yeah, that'd be great if like they did the live action Teen Titans show was just led by Joseph Gordon-Levitt as like 20 years older than every other character.
I forgot that they had that little name drop in the end of that movie. I saw Dark Knight Rises when it came out, like the day it came out in theaters back when they had that shooting in Colorado, and then I never watched it again.
I like how even in the movie, God, it's like he's even too old to be Robin. In the context of Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
He's also a cop, and it's just such a...
Exactly. It's like, okay, you just took this character and called him Robin.
The only way to play that off Robin would be if they did Teen Titans, but they filmed Teen Titans like Wet Hot American Summer, where it's all these adults that are playing, they're supposed to be playing teenagers, but then there's like an actor that's definitely younger than Joseph Gordon-Levitt playing Nightwing. Just constantly talking down to Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
No, I was gonna say have Nightwing played by Bruce Willis.
It's just like everyone's way too old for their part.
Looper's a good movie though. That's what I feel like you went.
That was the joke.
Like Batman good shows movie. Up and it's just a corpse.
Should we get back to Batman Genesis?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask you guys that. So out of the whole game, what was the hardest level for you?
The last one, no question.
The cathedral.
Yeah.
I would say.
Was it mostly the platforming or the boss fight?
Oh man,
the
platforming was not as much of an issue, but that was only because I had save states.
Yeah,
the hardest level for me was easily Carnival.
If I hadn't had save states, I would have.
Well,
I would not. I maybe wouldn't have finished the game. Like, here's my biggest complaint with this game, and I looked this up. This is not the case for the NES version. This game has limited continues.
Really?
It is limited.
It is basically an arcade game. It's designed to be an arcade
That's what I'm saying. It is an arcade game.
Okay.
Well, the thing is, actually, it's not, because in an arcade, it wouldn't boot you back to the title screen.
Oh, it would say continue.
As long as you just kept putting quarters in it. Right?
Yeah.
Whereas this, if you use 3 continues, then you're done.
Wow.
You're done.
I was almost done then.
Yeah.
Because I was
I don't know if it was 3, it might have been 4, but like I remember
think you could change
like
it in the options menu.
I
Just
think
like
it was
7 or something.
7
for
for Batman.
for S's
Oh
and G's.
yeah,
Like
I was looking at the options. I always first thing I do in any video game is I open the options menu. I don't know if anyone else does that. Like before I hit start, I was just like immediately into options just to look at like some of the settings. And I was like,
games.
saves. It was like saves 357 or something. I was like, I don't know what that means. I guess I'll look at it later. And I just never thought about it again.
Wait, so what? Saves? What?
It says like or not saves. Like
lives.
Yeah, lives. I guess. And I was like, I don't know what this means right now. And then
oh shit, you can give yourself more lives. I didn't know that.
Well, we didn't. We gave ourselves plenty of lives.
Well, that's true. We just used yeah.
I hated.
Would have been
it's so interesting that you guys hated the cathedral. I didn't think the cathedral was that bad, and I like that it did have like a little.
The first
I like
part
the
of it
boss
wasn't
rush
that
at the
bad.
end. I thought that was like fun,
Hated
despite
the
there
game.
only being like 3 or 2 levels ahead of that had bosses. I think
It's just the fact. It's really just the fact that it's so long. Like it's just a marathon.
Yeah,
you know?
but what I liked about that was that meant there was a lot of hidden, like, because there were hidden lives and batarang stuff like all
That's
over
true.
that level. So.
That's true.
You fell down, but then you had to like.
Yeah,
climb
there's
back
this one
up.
part. There's this one bonkers part
Where you fall and you see like 7 of them.
Yeah, there's a part where there are 3 extra lives in a row that you can only get by falling into a bottomless pit.
Yeah.
Yep.
How
So
do you get out of
it's
there?
just getting 2 extra lives. You're just trading 1 life for 3 lives.
Okay, I was wondering.
Super
about that.
weird. I have no idea what. That's just a bizarre decision.
That's like game making on the level of like Mario Maker, where you're
That's
designing the games to
basically
kill
what
people.
we're talking about here. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw this down there and I was like, I don't know what that is and I don't know how to get them. I'll just move past it because I've got batarangs to spare.
Yeah, it just wants you to sacrifice your soul.
Easily the
Batarangs
hardest one
guys-
for me was the damn carnival level of like flying in the Batwing. And
I enjoyed that.
Okay.
As
I
much
love
as I
Great.
loved that old helicopter game on like Nokia phones, I hated this level.
That was my favorite level this entire game, and I got to fly the bat plane thing.
It's just, I was so bad at it.
I use save states too, but I like that level because the missiles are pretty good. Like that's one thing to mention. Like when you're driving or flying, you get the missiles, and the missiles are really freaking nice.
I think honestly, those were the best levels because they actually forced you to think the most. Like you had to think about. You had to be really conscientious about how you used your missiles. You had to know like on exactly which enemies to use them, like which attacks you could afford to dodge and which ones you couldn't.
Like those green tanks.
It actually
Those
like
shotgun tanks.
Those fucking shotgun. Yeah.
Oh, they were
basically like boom, boom, 2 missiles as quick as you can on those guys because otherwise they're just gonna obliterate you.
And they take 2 bars of health too off you. If they hit you, you lose 2 bars.
I know it's insane, but like that's
you guys
the
know
closest, that's the closest this game gets to like good challenging game design, and it only gets. But I was only able to experience it that way because I had save states.
Yeah.
You know the Batmobile level. Actually, other than the tanks that shoot those like balls where you have to go underneath.
Oh
kinda like
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Other than those tanks, that whole level, you can literally stay at the bottom left corner and fire and never get hurt.
I learned that pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And next time, if we
wish
were
I'd
playing
known
without
that.
save states, I would not have been.
Similarly, I found out on the carnival level you can ride the top line really close. You have to ride like really close to the front part of the screen and up like top right of the screen and just lay down B and get through that really quickly.
I didn't know that
that's
either.
also another strat.
I found that out and I was like, "Oh my god, this is so much better than playing this."
So basically, the best way to play this game is to completely cheese it. Is what we're saying. Yeah.
This game was designed to be broken.
This game was designed not to be played. That's what I think. But hey.
Oh my god.
It's funny because like after like Stefan, I started playing the game. Like I started breaking it, and then I started having fun with it. I was like,
Yes.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah, that's
best
when
way
this
to
game
play this
becomes
game.
fun is when you just start cheating.
It's like yeah, it's like a Double Dragon type game where you figure out you can get this enemy in a kind of like lock pattern and kill him instantly. And it's like, yeah, that's the way to play this game. That's fun now. I hated having to do this the right way.
And everyone died in like one hit almost. Like one batarang, boom, they're dead, except for bosses. I did like that.
And later on, the flame spitting guys take two.
Oh, they did? Oh, I don't even. I guess I was punching them because I didn't
Yeah,
have
they're all
infinite
standing,
batarangs.
like half of them are standing up high, and so you just come up and punch them in the shin.
Oh yeah, there's so. That's what baffled me. That's one of the things that baffled me about this game. Like the fire breathing guys or the guys with the rocket launchers. Like you see these guys in the middle of the screen, and clearly the game wants you to be like intimidated by them and is being like, oh, okay, here's your real challenge right here. And every single time, all you have to do with these guys is walk into them and punch them in the shins, and then they die. And you like, they're at no point are it ever at any risk from them. Like the most you have to do is just duck out of the way because they're not moving.
The most dangerous point with them is there's like 3 in a row, but they're all facing away from you. And you just go like, oh, can I just jump over these guys? Oh, I can. Okay, bye.
And like the jumping on people, I never felt like I was Mario jumping on people. Like you could like jump around them and it wouldn't hurt you sometimes, but it never. I was not
sick Batman knee to the face, which definitely doesn't kill people.
I could never get that to work very well. I would try and he would just look stupid and get hurt somehow.
Like
it's a touchy thing.
Yeah.
It's like playing an old like Mega Man game where you have to know the spacing of every jump really well, I guess. Because I was having so much trouble with it at first.
I was not.
Yeah, sometimes it was really easy to jump on guys. Other times, not so much. But like, wow, once you like get into a groove with it, it makes everything completely laughable.
It does have the old game mechanic, which I love. It's just not in games anymore. They kind of took jumping out of games.
They did
for a while. Like,
I mean, well, here's the thing: like jumping on people's heads as Batman just feels completely silly and out of character.
Yeah, but it's like, the Tim Burton Batman movies.
Yeah,
so.
That's true.
Silly and out of character is what those.
That's what he does. Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense. But then, like it had that same old game mechanic of you press the jump button down, you jump a little bit, and if you hold it down, you jump longer. And at some point,
it's a crime that's not as much of a thing anymore.
Yeah,
like
they took it out of games, and then they were like, "Oh, let's just take jump out altogether." And then the last couple of years, they're like, "We're gonna put jump back in, but no,
it's gonna be context sensitive."
Yeah, it's either gonna be context sensitive, or you're gonna have a jetpack and fly up and like hover a bit, but it's not a jump; it's a jetpack. It's like I just want to jump in games. Like I don't know why I can't anymore.
Yeah, man.
So would you guys be fair to say that thank God for Rocksteady after playing this game?
You know, I thought we would get to talking about those games eventually. I never was able to get into them. I don't know why.
Really?
I like 3 of the 4 a lot. I definitely do want to do episodes on them later on in this because I think they would be fun to really, and we could really dive into those games well.
That'll be interesting because
there's a lot of lore.
I've barely played the Arkham games.
They're real. I mean, Arkham Asylum, Origins, and City to me are really good. Arkham Knight is the one that just didn't click with me at the time, but I haven't played it since then, and I need to go back and try it again.
I played Arkham City a little bit, I think at a friend's house, and I was like, I like this because it feels like what I want a superhero game to feel like. And I never bought it myself.
It's a good game. I mean,
but just like traveling around the city, like I really like that, and like I really like that in any superhero game. I think that's kind of like you need that in a superhero game. You either need it to be extremely linear and small scale, or it needs to be open world and like you are in control of the city, or you're trying to gain control of the city. Like the Spider-Man games are always the kind of like that.
Hey, we did just play a linear small game.
That's true.
It didn't feel good.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan.
Is Harry Mason a superhero?
He sure doesn't play like it.
He doesn't quip like a superhero does now.
Oh, I'm looking for my daughter. Have you seen a small child?
Have you seen a young girl this high, black hair?
Who cares about the monsters?
The way he phrases it is just so weird.
I would like to hear somebody do that, like in like a Walmart. Just
Oh,
hello. Like I'm not. It's not. I have lost my daughter. It's I am looking for a small child. Have you seen one? I need a 7-year-old. It's like I'm calling the cops. This creepy bastard. I'm calling Batman.
And this Batman, he won't be running anywhere. He'll just be walking towards you nice and slow. Maybe he'll punch you if you get too close.
He'll blow your car up with you inside. Enjoy a fiery death, asshole. I'm Batman.
He'll jump on your neck and kick you in the shins.
Like in the Batman '89 movie. I remember people like, "Oh, Batman doesn't kill anybody." I'm watching that movie. This was a few years ago, and he drives in that first part and he blows up that plant. And you just watch all these people get fried. I'm like, they all died, right?
Yeah,
it's killing people. Like,
I would love for that to be just like very, like I would love a Batman movie to be very like laissez-faire about that. Of like, Batman is not killing people, but he is like snapping their spines and breaking their necks, so they're all like quadriplegics by the end.
I mean,
like, they're not dead, but they just can't move.
That's always been Batman.
That's true, but just like really blatant about it. I would love for that to be matter of fact. Of
wait till we play Arkham Asylum someday, because that's pretty much Arkham Asylum.
That's true. Yeah, from what I understand, the driving in those games is like you are basically killing people.
Oh, that's Arkham Knight. Yeah.
Oh yeah, well, Arkham Knight, the tank segments that everyone complains about.
Yep, I'm one of them.
Yeah. Right.
Without getting into spoilers, I'm just gonna be mad that because Arkham Knight has Joker in it, right? That's like
okay, that seems to be. I haven't played the series extensively, but that seems to be the whole deal with the series is like, oh, we're not focusing on the Joker on this one, and then you play it, and this big spoiler is that it's actually been the Joker the whole time.
And it has to be. What are they going to do?
Sort of. There's a lot more to it than that.
Guy.
But
the Joker is
He's not specifically in the game.
The Joker.
He has a part to play in it.
Okay.
We should say that for another episode, though.
That's dumb because
I mean, he's basically. Right, he's basically just the equivalent of like Ganondorf, like, right?
There,
you play Twilight Princess, and you're like, oh, he's not the villain in this one.
Nope,
we got this guy Sant.
Yeah, who is basically Ganondorf and is trying directly to work for Ganondorf, but they're not Ganondorf.
And Ganondorf shows up halfway through and is like, hey, bitch, it's my game now.
Yeah.
Oh, then you get to see Zant take off his mask, and I was like, put the mask back on.
Don't
take off that helmet.
That never gets old to me, though. Like, Legend of Zelda having... Like, I love Majora's Mask, and I know people who love Majora's Mask specifically because it doesn't have Ganondorf. Which, I was always upset that they didn't have Ganondorf just as, like, a background character. Like in Mega Man Legends, where Wily is just a boat shop owner.
If they just used his model and made him, like, the farmhand...
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. The farmhand or, like, Romani Ranch, I would love that. Like, he's just a genial guy.
He isn't in all the games. He's in some like the Minish Cap stuff like that. He's not in those. If we get around to those, which I know.
By the
I'm
way,
pretty sure
Minish Cap, my favorite Zelda.
But it's just like it's like Mario and Bowser. Like I never get old of just like them trying to hide the fact that Bowser isn't the enemy or something. It was just like Mario Sunshine, where Bowser basically shows up at the very end. And you're like, it's a Mario game. You didn't think it was gonna be Bowser this time, but it is. I'm like, you just. Yeah. Like, you know what I like?
He's literally just like, hey, I'm just here to pick up my son.
Literally,
like,
don't talk to me about my son ever again,
That's what
Mario.
I love about it. He's just like coming to pick up his son. Yeah. Like that's it's not like a reveal. It's not like he was pulling the strings the whole time. It's nothing like that. It's literally just like, oh, Junior, there you are.
That's probably my favorite Mario game for that. Of like. You know that Bowser's going to show up, but just the way he does it's hilarious.
It in the most blasé way possible, and then the boss fight is him taking a bath.
Yeah.
What? I've never played Sunshine. I played it, but never got far.
That happens.
Yeah. Well, Mario Sunshine, you fight a tiny silver version of Bowser the entire time. And at no point does anyone go, that's Bowser. So you're like, the entire game you're thinking, oh, that's definitely Bowser. That's definitely Bowser. And then, like, he pulls his mask down and it's Bowser's son. And you're like, okay, you got me, Nintendo. It's not Bowser, but it is Bowser.
Yeah, Shadow Mario is Bowser.
Yeah. Okay, I did not know that. I mean, not spoiler. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter if a game came out on the GameCube, but hey.
It's also a Mario game.
Also a Mario game.
Bowser.
Yeah.
It'd be spoiling it to say it isn't Bowser.
You see how this game hurt us? We're not even talking about Batman. We're off talking about Mario.
It's true.
It's a filler episode. Whatever.
It relates because my point was going to be like in a Batman game. Like I love that. Like everyone's trying to focus on other Batman villains. Like especially Gotham. For a long time, Gotham was trying to focus on like the Penguin and
That's a good
other
show.
people. Yeah, it is a good show. Like
I haven't.
Penguin, like the crime lords and everything. And it's like
Yeah.
I like seeing those personalities portrayed that way, but I know that by the end the Joker is going to have to show up because that's the arch of Batman. You can't have a Batman. He does show up eventually.
Is it that kid with the red hair, or is it someone else?
I don't know if that's actually specifically the Joker or not because it's a Batman series, and so you never know if the Joker is actually the Joker, even though it's basically...
It's a weird show. I only watched the first 2 seasons, and I never even finished the second season. I always wanted to get back to it, but
it's like
I don't care enough.
If they're on screen and they have a smile and they have wacky hair, they're the Joker. Like that's
basically
It's a Batman like anthology series, kind of like it's if it's anything Batman related and somebody's got a smile and weird hair, they're the
There's
Joker.
a Joker. I mean, Joker's like he's a classic Batman villain. Like I don't really care. He's not my favorite
villain now. I mean, he wasn't when he started, but he is now.
He's the big one. Yeah.
Gotta have him. The big bad. It'd be like playing like a Mass Effect game, like in one of the main series, and you get to the end of like Mass Effect 2, and it's like, oh, the bad guys weren't the Reapers this time. Like, what? Yeah, no, of course they are. Like, no.
I don't know. I always trying to think if I have a favorite Batman villain. I mean, for a while, my what we should talk about. What's our first experience of Batman? My first was the animated show, which I'm assuming a lot of us, might have been all 4 of us.
I mean, yeah.
My first was definitely the movies, the WB movies.
The WB movies and the animated series at the same time.
Yeah, it was the animated series for me. It was the animated series for me. I think but I think I didn't really watch it like really go. I think I had seen a couple of episodes offhand when I was a really little kid, but I don't think I really like totally like went through and watched the whole thing until after I had seen the Justice League series.
Mm-hmm.
That was like the sequel series.
Really, really good.
Which I again equate to that almost being more of like, despite being for kids, it does have more of that
that's a remarkably grown up show.
Yeah, and it's all about like battling ideologies, which is why people love the first X-Men movie. It's just like there is like superhero fighting, but like I would easily watch any episode of the Justice League where it was just Green Lantern and like the Flash arguing over the best way to solve a problem. Like if there was a whole episode about like the Flash going, I'll just run in, and Green Lantern going like, no, let's think about this. I would watch half an hour of that easy.
Green Lantern's my favorite character at DC.
I don't know why. Are you talking specifically
the Ryan Reynolds animated?
No.
We're talking the Jon Stewart version?
No, Hal Jordan.
I don't like Hal.
I don't know why, but I like Hal a lot.
Hal's an asshole.
Yeah, I know he is. I think that's why I like him.
Which one is Justice League Green Lantern?
That's Jon Stewart. He's the cool black one.
Yeah. There's
my favorite Green Lantern is Guy Gardner because he's an asshole, but he's honest about it.
Hal Jordan's very cocky. He's very full of himself. I don't know why, but I've always liked that character, even though he's not in a whole lot of things.
So that's probably why I like Jon Stewart next to like the Flash, because the Flash is always a cocky asshole. And then Jon Stewart is very like
an asshole. He's a genuinely good guy. He's just like
he's very cocky.
He's childish.
Yeah. He's immature because he is kind of like the youngest minus,
Isn't it Wally West in Justice League though?
It's Wally West.
Yeah. Okay.
It's Wally West. They skipped Barry Allen, they skipped Hal Jordan.
Yeah.
Well, I like that because Wally West is he's a genuinely nice person, but he's also like a little arrogant. But then Jon Stewart is very like reserved, and so him being on screen with anybody
they're a really good buddy duo. Like they got those dynamics down 100%. Like you have your Trinity, you have your Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, you got your like anchor, then you have then you got Flash and Green Lantern who are like you got that buddy cop duo, they're perfect. And then
Yeah, like
Martian
Manhunter,
Man.
who's
Martian
just-
Manhunter is a really interesting, like, you get to know him over the course of the series, and you're like, wow, okay, I didn't know about this guy, but wow. And then he like is kind of the glue that holds the team together.
Yeah,
and then you have Hawk Girl, who's this total wild card, because they were just looking for a seventh spot. It could have been anybody.
Yeah.
And they just chose her, and the way they like develop her storyline is really remarkable. Like,
even just having her like come into her own as a superhero.
Yeah, she
and
becomes a real, like, and it would have been so easy to just make her like a carbon copy of Wonder Woman.
yeah,
And they are very similar characters in a way, but the way they're written is so intelligent, like you would never ever confuse them.
mm-hmm.
Like,
oh yeah, absolutely.
yeah, in practice they're so different, and I can't even articulate how that is. The writing is just that good.
It's
It was
such a
Doesn't
good show.
Phil Lamar do the voice of one of them?
He does John
Bill
Stewart.
Maher's Green Lantern.
John Stewart, yeah.
Yeah, as well as 400,000 other roles. I
Yes.
love Phil
Yeah.
Lamar.
Damn.
But, like, if you
Same.
ever need to look up Phil Lamar for anything, it's
Yeah.
like,
Oh, man.
God damn, it is so hard
Phil
to find
Lamar.
a specific role that he did.
He's one of those 10 people who's been in everything.
Yeah,
in,
it's like
in,
him,
in voice acting.
Steve
Yeah.
Blum.
Steve
um,
Blum, Tom Kenny,
Oh
No.
God,
Frank
was-
Welker.
Yeah.
Nolan
Frank
North,
Welker,
Nolan North.
Northern North, yeah.
Troy
Was
Baker.
it,
I want to say he's
that's
in a lot
right.
of stuff too.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
those two are video games.
My favorite voice
that's why
actor.
my brain went.
My favorite voice actor like crossover that I've ever noticed is in Galarian's Ash.
Oh Jesus.
Rion is so Game Informer played Galarian's Ash, and I was watching it and I was going, I know the voice of Ash. I think it's not Rion, I think it's his evil twin Ash or whatever. That weird ass Japanese story, but where somebody's like an evil twin that's existed in the shadows the whole time. I want to say it was Ash that was voiced by the same guy who did the English Kakashi Sensei from Naruto, and I was like, why do I know that voice? I finally looked at him, I was like, it's Kakashi.
Okay.
It's like, I cannot hear that
All
now.
right. So how many layers of tangent is this now?
Oh, it's been a few.
Yeah.
It's been. I mean, hey, Justice League, we were on par, and we ended up in Galleries, which I never did watch that replay. I probably never will. But
Welcome to our Batman Genesis podcast. I'm now going to tell you about why Hinata is a good character but doesn't belong with Naruto.
Wonderful.
I mean, this game just there's not much I'm gonna say about this game. I was like, okay, we get to play a Batman
All right.
game. And I'm like,
I mean,
I genuinely did. I will say, as much as I've shit on it, I genuinely did enjoy this game. I am glad that it's short because I did not want to play too much of it.
I enjoyed this game in the same way
Nice.
I would enjoy like a B movie. Nothing on the level of like The Room. It's not like all-time badness
Yeah,
masterpiece.
it's not
but
a
it's
bad
like
movie. It's a B movie.
it's a B movie. It's a cheesy thing that's just it's cheap, and you can see that, and it's just like
So what you're
very-
saying is Batman
like-
Genesis predicted Batman and Robin.
we haven't gone to that. We haven't talked about that movie yet.
Yeah. Should we talk about now the Batman movies, the WB Batman movies?
I don't like any of them.
Really?
By the way, I do have a couple of
Reviews.
I have a couple of review excerpts pulled up here if we want to go through
Okay.
those really quick.
Yeah, we should.
Just
we should wrap up Batman
reviews.
Genesis.
Reviews from around the time this game came out. In a new segment I'm calling DJ's Review Roundup.
Which has just been introduced to all of us at the same time as a test to the audience.
Good shot.
Man, I wish I had a soundboard and I had the sound from Metal Gear Solid when someone sees that would have been perfect right there, but I do not.
Okay, I can add it in post.
That's okay.
I'm totally not gonna add it in
No, I know.
post.
Add
I
it
don't
in
want-
post, but don't
that's
get the
more
actual
work.
noise. Just get Mike doing the to-do noise.
Yeah. Okay, so here is GamePro's review from their July 1991 issue. They gave it a surprising 5 out of 5,
Oh, wow.
and the quote is, "Batman's a great action cart that every Genesis Street Fighter must take on. If you're bats about Batman, get this cart."
So
Batman doesn't throw anything new at you, but even though you may have done it all before, it's never looked this good. Even the music and sounds stand out. Batman's a winner. Has the Joker finally had his last laugh? We hope not.
Man, that was
Genesis
terrible.
does with
I
Nintendo.
love the way game reviews were written back then. It was so good.
To their credit, they were right. The music is very good. The sound is really
It's very good.
very,
I
yeah.
didn't hear anything.
I couldn't for the
satisfying.
life of you like hum any of it right now. But I
I'm gonna
remember it
use-
was very nice. Yeah.
Now when I go get like a coffee or something, I'm just gonna get like just get coffee and be like, man, I'm bats about this coffee.
Here, I got it. So we can play this.
It sounds like something like there you go.
There you go.
It sounds like something like an old timey like like an old like 1920s caricature would say, like an old newsreader. Like, oh boy, we just bats about this new movie coming out. Like, doesn't make any sense.
Oh, man,
Okay.
I had a whole spiel I was going to do before I started the show, and I didn't write it down. I completely forgot I was going to do it until just now. I was like, I wanted to make like, hey, go grab some bat cookies and a bunch of dumb stuff, and I'm like, and I completely forgot.
I admire
Oh.
your candor, Mike.
I want to. As I kind of said already with the show, like I'm not a big fan of Batman in general. I wasn't really until the Arkham games. The Arkham games are what made me a big fan of Batman and
Here's
the
a-
Dark Knight movie.
A fun fact for you: nobody's a fan of Batman. Everyone's a fan of Batman's
Oh.
villains. Batman is like
that's a little okay. I might take issue with you there.
I like
because-
Batman to a degree.
there
I
are some
like-
instances of Batman, like the Justice League Batman, that are written really well and stand out and like are.
I am a fan. I am a
characters.
fan specifically of that version of Batman.
Yeah,
I would
that's
say
because everybody
those
in
are the
that
guys
show
who
is
get
written
him.
so well.
Those are the guys who get him right.
But if you
like-
look
Well,
at like,
I would say any hero is as good as his villain anyway.
that's true. That's
Yeah.
fair.
I mean,
Yeah,
no,
as long as
because I actually would take issue with that because there you got heroes like Daredevil, who's a fantastic character, who has two villains, and that's being
Bullseye.
charitable. Really, he just has 1.5 villains because he's kind of borrowing the Kingpin from Spider-Man.
Kingpin is
Uh,
enough to go around.
Yeah. I'd say Kingpin's like Punisher, Spider-Man, and Daredevil's villain in one.
It's just whenever I think of Kingpin from now on, I'm never gonna be able to get over Vincent D'Onofrio just going, "You embarrassed me." It's just like I to this, I still like quote Vincent D'Onofrio, Kingpin, when like something goes wrong. I just in my mind I think, "You embarrassed me." I just want to start beating up whatever messed like I break
I
a
forgot.
pencil.
I kind of know what you're talking about. I haven't watched that in years, but I kind of know what you're talking about.
Just like every time like a pencil breaks, I'm gonna just throw it and just be like, "You embarrassed me in front of Samantha." Oh.
But nobody would get the joke because even I didn't get the joke till he started
No one
explaining
would
it.
ever
No
get
one.
it.
They'll be like,
It's just
"Get
so
this guy out of here. Something wrong with him." He got all upset over the pencil. I don't know what was going on. He's like, "It's a joke. It's Kingpin," and nobody knew what you're talking about.
His Kingpin's so over the top. I love it.
I mean, that Daredevil show is not even really going to be around much longer at the rate they're going. So
I mean, didn't they cancel it already? They,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
totally
canceled,
canceled it.
Yeah.
they
It's
canceled
just-
it.
I could have told you that was coming, but it never really joined in the MCU anyway, like they should have been. They never took advantage of what the system they had going.
Yeah.
They were never going to get into like the Avengers territory. What I
Yeah.
figured it was going to be like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. style, where Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has a great like episode that takes place during Winter Soldier.
Yep.
And like that's how it ties in with the movies.
And it
I
completely
figured-
rewrites the show.
Yeah. So I figured
Yeah.
they were going to do that with like all the superhero shows after Infinity War. Maybe that's
Well,
why they got
yeah.
canceled. Oh my god,
mean-
maybe Daredevil's dead.
Well, that's the thing is that I don't think Netflix and Disney really play nice.
That's true.
I think that's the main
Yeah.
issue.
Well, I think
Oh,
Disney's.
Disney
I
plays
imagine that those shows got canceled for Disney to say because Disney's streaming service is supposed to come out.
Yeah, no, they're
Dude,
moving all their
right?
stuff over. Yeah,
Wasn't it supposed to come out? I think it was supposed to come out in December last year.
was it?
And it didn't. I think so.
Huh.
That might have been a long time ago planned, but I'm guessing that they're gonna start trying to move their stuff off of Netflix. We've already seen that with like a lot of Star Wars, like Clone Wars is. I think Clone Wars is still on there, but
It still is for now, but it's
Yeah.
not going to be long.
I figure they're gonna start moving everything off of that and create that like generate that false demands of like, oh, it's so hard to find Disney shows now, and then they're gonna be like, bam, streaming service.
Yeah, I mean
Okay.
that's they're working on one. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It's coming.
All right, so guys, we can keep talking about like random stuff for like 30 more minutes, and that's fine. That's totally fine. Before, like, I at least want to talk about this game's ending because I was literally like laughing out loud for a minute when I saw the ending of this game.
I liked the ending. It was very comic book, even though it made no sense. Oh my god!
No, it was the prose, man. It was like, what are these words? I have a screen cap. I have a screen cap right here, and I'm going to read it verbatim. First of all, so this is what you see immediately after you beat the Joker, which, by the way, is the easiest boss fight in the game.
Yeah.
Literally all you have to do is keep jumping.
Yeah,
that's it.
And you see him kind of like fall off screen like a Mario, like a Goomba. Yeah. He kind of like pops off the screen. Yeah.
Well, and then you get that really cool perspective shot, though, that like Hans Gruber shot of him just falling off the building, which was cool. What's cool? It was a nice touch. And then then that's the end of the game. And then the very next thing you see is a still of him lying on his back in just embedded in the like literally embedded in the pavement
in a Looney Tunes styled like Joker shaped hole in the ground.
Yes. And then the caption reads thus: Joker has slammed down to the ground from the top stair of the cathedral. Now Joker looks dizzy with his face ice cold, yet his teeth stuck out and his eyes directed aimlessly toward the star-sparkling night sky. What the?
I didn't read any of this.
What junior novelist? What freaking like?
Does that mean he's dead or just dazed or what?
I think they're trying to avoid saying he's dead. Yeah. I'm not sure where the prose is coming from.
Is that like the equivalent of in a movie having to like throw in the like the voiceover at the end or something? So you're like, so and so was put in a penitentiary and is fine now, but they are locked up. Yeah. They're not dead, they're fine, but they are not going to be in any sequels. But yeah, it's like it doesn't feel like they did that scene and then somebody was like, oh, you have to write something there implying he's not dead.
we can't. No, he looks hella dead. We cannot. No,
it does look really cool though. It's like such a great.
Yeah. It is a great image.
Visually, really.
Yeah, just... everyone, just Google like Batman Genesis ending right now. You will see this image. It's fantastic.
As somebody who looked up somebody else playing to figure out that box puzzle, I can tell you that there are playthroughs on YouTube that are about 6 to 9 minutes long. So you could just sit down and watch the whole game.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So you heard him, folks. Go do that.
This is probably the easiest game to speedrun.
Yeah. Now you know why we picked this game for a filler episode, to buy us more time to play the next game.
Which I'm very excited for. Should we say what it is?
Yeah, we can spoil it. So at long last, we are going to be arriving to my game, the game that I suggested, which is Golden Sun for the Game Boy Advance. And I've been meaning to play that one for a long time. So I'm super excited to be doing it for the first time on the show. I think we've all been stuck in for a little while. We've been talking to each other a little bit. I think we're all enjoying it a lot so far.
Yes.
Yeah. We're going to have a lot to talk about next week.
Yeah. I'm tempted to I'm trying not to say anything right now because
me too.
Start talking about it. I want to talk about it right now, but I also want to be there first.
We should. No, this was definitely a film. I'm glad we covered it because it was on Stefan's list. And it was an experience. It's just, again, 30 years later, it's not. I like some beat 'em up, but I think maybe it's like I like Final Fight, but that's might all be a lot of nostalgic.
This is not a well-designed beat 'em up. It's not good.
It's only like 6 levels, so it's like
painful.
You knock this out in an afternoon. Like if I had, I'm not gonna lie, if I get to a point, this is me and Stefan being like, this is probably tied to our like survival horror love. We probably have the same taste in games at this point, and it's like, it's like if I had 20 minutes to kill. And I couldn't start, I can't play a full-length game. I'm not going to start playing, Skyrim if I have 20 minutes to kill. I might go back and play this game. I was like, I might try to get better at it.
Yeah,
as much as I don't like beat 'em up.
It's fun in just a cheesy, goofy way. It's...
Yeah,
there
I
are
kinda
there are
get back to what I
there
was
are
saying at the
things.
beginning as well about it being just a mediocre licensed game, which I think we should cover a little bit more
Oh,
about
yeah,
licensed
absolutely.
games. But
Yeah.
it is just a mediocre game, and the most you can expect from it is just like kind of what Stuart's saying, just where you're just if you got a couple of minutes to spare in a lazy afternoon, you could pop it in and beat it
Yeah.
under an hour.
I mean-
Especially the more you get better at it.
And it's
It
not
might have
like
been
it's not like Metroid, where like Metroid's not a very long game, but Metroid is kind of
feels long.
it asks a lot of you.
Well, if
This
you
game
know
doesn't.
if you know what the hell you're doing, you can beat it in 3 hours. But if
That's
you're
true.
playing it for the first time, you're not going to know what anything is. You're going to basically have to do what the game is designed for, which is meander and explore and backtrack and keep going like, what the hell? Where do I go? And examining every little brick and trying to find what you missed. Like that stuff takes up time. And
this
it's
is just an arcade. This is a very much like an arcade style game. It's
Yeah, that's what it felt like.
yeah, this is not that at all. This is if you're taking any extra time trying to beat this game, and I would have, it's because the game is hard in a very specific way that's specific to this game, and
Yeah,
it's just
it's a
forcing you to
product of
learn.
its time.
It's just forcing
Yeah.
you to learn it.
It's like
It's-
any Genesis game.
Yeah.
I'm not. I mean, again, I haven't played a lot of Genesis games. Like you won't see many on this list. Like I wouldn't mind. Like I like Sonic. Like I grew up playing Sonic games. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
enjoy those.
Yeah.
But this was. I don't know. It was okay. Like I mean, I guess if you got the
It's
chance
an
to play
arcade
it,
game. It's
Yeah.
whatever, you
you
know.
like Batman, it's worth it playing.
It's a
Oh,
fun
but
little thing.
before
Here's the thing: there is nothing especially Batman about this game, though.
no,
Like,
No, it's true.
the grappling
it's-
hook. That's it. But
yeah, I guess. But like, I think even in the movies, Batman's expertise with the grappling hook is like a little more flexible, where he doesn't have to be standing exactly still and looking up.
yeah.
We're
Looking
talking about a
directly
movie
up.
series where George Clooney couldn't turn his head, so
Well, okay, that's true. Okay, so maybe there is a level of accuracy here that
Yeah.
we're not giving it credit for.
this game was designed with the same level of thought as Batman's outfit.
But hey, that was a few years later. Well, no, Can
That
Michael
was,
Keaton not move his head either.
I don't think Keaton could move his head, right?
He couldn't.
Yeah, wasn't it
Okay.
Christian Bale the first one that could turn his head?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, because I remember that being like a thing, like Christian Bale saying that like he was only going to play Batman if he could look around or something. He didn't want to do the ridiculous like full body turn every time he was looking at something, which is just brilliant. Which I have to do every time I say it, which is why my
And then
voice
I
sounded
think-
weird in the mic there.
I think later on in the movies too, he made them add a zipper because he'd always have to take a piss in the suit.
Yeah, and it's a full body rubber suit. Like,
Yeah.
That
I
just
cannot
sounds
imagine.
terrible.
I cannot imagine like the length of showers that happened after that movie was done filming it today. I'm like, I'm just gonna go fall asleep in the running shower. Call me when we start filming again.
Go back
I
crazy.
mean, for the time, I know that movie was a big thing because you didn't really have comic book movies at all.
Mhm.
I mean, I wasn't. Well, I was 2, so I didn't care. But
We had I mean, even before that, for Batman, you had the Adam West
1960s.
movie back in 1966.
yeah, but that wasn't. That's a whole different type
Yeah.
of.
That's a very like
Yeah.
60s era.
Yeah,
movie.
that was its own thing.
Mhm.
It was brilliant. It was brilliant for what it was, but
It's funny.
it
It's
was-
one of those things that's better probably today for.
Oh yeah,
a
I mean,
comedian.
People love it.
Definitely.
I'm one of these people who's just been super sick of ultra dark Batman. Like they've just been taking him in this really like edgy. Ooh, it's so cool to be edgy and dark. Like they've just been taking him in that direction for decades now, and
I
I'm
think that's
just
why people were so keen
not interested in it.
on like Guardians of the Galaxy, which is like less so dark. It's more jokey and very colorful, and then like
Oh yeah,
people
it's
are
weird. It's not afraid to be.
It's
It's
weird,
a comic
yeah.
book movie that's not afraid to be weird.
and then
It's
like
a really good movie. The first one.
Deadpool, which does not take itself seriously at all. I mean,
Oh,
it
yeah.
kind of does. Like there are times that like get you, but because
Yeah.
they're written well and they're put in a way that's like,
Look, I could have a whole discussion about the
Yeah.
Deadpool movies.
yeah,
Um,
it's like there's moments that will hit you, but then like it's
Yeah.
not a movie that asks you to take the rest of it seriously.
right.
And it, like
Yeah.
I know I'm insanely excited about Shazam because Shazam looks like it's a
Shazam looks great.
Looks
Shazam
really
looks
good.
like they actually understand what the character is.
yeah. It
And
looks like
they-
it's a
they
kids
were-
movie, which I'm
they
fine
were
with.
like,
I want to
here's
see
the
it.
thing. And they're like, okay, we're going to take this idea and we're going to modernize it and we're going to make it a little more grounded and a little more quote unquote edgy. but without losing what actually makes it unique
Fun. Yeah.
and fun. Yeah.
How about when they go, Martha?
Like where actually the changes they're making make it like a little bit more dangerous, like a little bit more immediate and less sort of just light, fluffy, 1950s era kid wish fulfillment. It's sort of taking those ideas and putting them in a more realistic context, which is great. But it's at the same time, it's not.
It knows what it is. It's a fun superhero movie, and it looks like a fun superhero movie.
It does look good.
It's not trying to be cool. It's not mistaking dark for cool.
I'm just waiting for it to start, and it's like the trailer's completely lied to everybody, and it starts and like Shazam's brother, like adopted brother, dies immediately on screen. He's like holding his bloody corpse. It's just like, who did this? And you're like, great, another one of these.
No, I hope Shazam's super good. I hope, because it's really funny, because like it's hilarious, because Wonder Woman did really well, and then DC's new slate of films came out, and it was like, okay, every single one of these new films stars a woman, and it's like, okay, and then Aquaman does well, and then every single thing is like, I don't know,
it's like
DC, and now Aquaman's and everything, and now
DC
Shazam
is
the
stupidest producers.
And if Shazam does well, I don't know what's gonna happen to their slate. Like,
I mean, kids movies.
I don't know what's gonna happen. Like, I don't even. Their heads are probably gonna explode. Like,
it's like I don't know. Like, it's people keep saying like, oh, they finally found out like their formula.
No, they're just chasing trends. They're still just chasing trends.
They're still chasing trends, but it's like they're idiots about it. And
absolutely.
I'm not a movie producer, so I can't speak to how hard that job is. But I imagine my idea of how to make a movie would be, okay, let's make a well-written movie that's like fun and people will want to see, not, hey, people like that character, what's something about that character? Oh, they have long hair and they joke. Okay, well, we'll just make a movie based on that. It's like, yeah, does it have to be well-written? Nah, it's just long hair and jokey.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not what goes into a movie, DC.
Ding, 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 ding. There you go.
Yeah.
They don't have any idea what they're actually doing. They don't have any actual artistic vision, or
no, they lost that.
They don't have any concept of what they actually want, of what they're actually putting forward. They're just looking at what we want, which is I think is not unique to them, by the way. I think that's also what's
I wouldn't say they're looking at, because like giving consumers what they want is fine and good. Like, it's what you should be doing if you're in an industry where your main job is to make a profit. But they're doing it in like a stupid way where they're going like,
where they're just looking at the superficial.
It'd be the equivalent of somebody going like.
By the way, this isn't new. This is what happened. This is what happened for 2 decades after the first Die Hard came out.
That's true. Yeah.
Like, this is what Hollywood does.
This is what's always been happening in Hollywood. Look back at like, Road Warrior came out, and then every movie past that had crazy cannibal bikers in them. But like, it's always been going on in Hollywood. But it's like, it's stupid to the point of somebody going, why is McDonald's popular? And somebody goes like, oh, it's because their food is cheap and tasty and full of fat and stuff. And he's like, no, it's because their fry thing is red. So our fry things are going to be red. And it's like, what? No, that's not. What? Like, put $1 billion into it. It's like, how are you working in this industry? How do you understand like so little about what you're doing?
But hey, what's everybody's worst? Man. What's everybody's worst Batman movie? I can tell you mine, but I'm curious.
Dark Knight Rises.
BVS for me. Dark Knight Rises is second.
I never saw BVS. I don't plan to ever see BVS. I have no interest in seeing BVS. I knew exactly what kind of movie it was the moment I saw the trailer, and I was like, "Yep, I'm gonna hate that." And then the reviews came out, and it was like, "Yep, I would have hated that." And there you go. Like, I'm never gonna see it. I already hated Zack Snyder. Like, I hate Zack Snyder. He's probably my least favorite filmmaker of all time.
See, I think I like Batman versus Superman more than Dark Knight Rises because, and I'll let me defend this now before everyone kills me. I think Dark Knight Rises is still like we're trying to do this like gritty realism thing, and it's just not enjoyable anymore. It's like, okay, we get it. Like I don't want to be in this dark universe.
By the
where
way,
everyone's
it's
miserable.
the least realistic film in the trilogy.
That's true. Yeah, it's like
there's so little actual realism in that film.
it's
like
just the fact that they're all staring at a nuke going off, and like in a realistic movie, they'd all be blinded by that. They're all just looking right at it. Like there's even a scene where Robin, because I'm not going to call him Officer Asshole. He's a Robin now. Officer I might call him Officer Asshole. But he's like,
his name.
He's like telling the kids on the bus not to look at the nuke, and it's like, yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. But then it shows everybody else just like staring at this fucking nuke in the distance, like okay, Catwoman's blind, Commissioner Gordon's blind, like half this city is now blind.
I mean, wouldn't the nuke destroy the city though, even from that range?
Yeah, like assuming it's a sizable. It's also like not a nuke, it's a nuclear reactor or something, right? They transform into a bomb.
Right.
But
I can't remember.
That's not how nuclear bombs are made. You don't just transform a reactor into it. You have to get like material from the reactor and then use that to make a bomb. You don't turn the reactor itself into a bomb.
Man, I am learning so much from you right now, Stuart.
What about you, Stefan? What was your least favorite one?
It's hard to say because I think growing
you don't
up,
have one?
You know what? You can say Suicide Squad because Batman wasn't Suicide Squad.
Well,
yeah,
I have to stick around movies
because that was a great movie.
What was it?
I like that movie.
Yeah, I'd say it's
Stefan got cut off. What was your worst one, Stefan?
I'd say it would be Batman and Robin.
Okay. See, I like Batman and Robin for a similar reason to BVS, because like Batman vs Superman is just modern Batman and Robin of like it's schlocky and dumb and like it's bad, but there are ways that it's bad that can be enjoyable. Batman and Robin is bad in an enjoyable way on a much higher level for me.
Hey,
and that's the thing. I don't think I can find any enjoyment in it just because it's too schlocky for me.
Yeah,
it's just maybe too far.
It's very much like you can tell that nobody. The only person that I think enjoys being in that movie is Arnold Schwarzenegger, and honestly, like I could watch him. I just like the decisions that they make though are so dumb to me that they're hilarious. Of like the close-up shots of like crotches and boobs as they put on their outfits. Like
I've never watched this movie. I've skipped this one. I've seen parts of it, but I've skipped it mostly.
It's just like bizarre. It's like a clinic on people not understanding what was good about Batman. It's just going like, what do people like about Batman?
As far as I'm concerned, that's all of Batman for the past 25 years. So
it's like them trying to build all this sex appeal with like Chris O'Donnell and Alicia Silverstone.
Yeah.
And like George Clooney's in it, but George Clooney, I don't think George Clooney was ever like the hot Jack dude who like he was just like, in my opinion, George Clooney was always supposed to be attractive because he was like the classy like actor. Like he was a gentleman. He was kind of
his breakout role was General Hospital. He was the sexy doctor.
Yeah, but it's not like he was sexy because he was like he wasn't like taking his shirt off every scene.
Was it General Hospital or ER or whatever?
It's ER.
It was one of those.
I know this. I don't know.
If you like took his lab coat off, pulled out like a sponge of, like with baby oil and just started rubbing it all over himself, then I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense for this Batman and Robin movie where they show bat nipples. But he's supposed to be like this classy actor, and they throw him in this like completely weird scene of like, check out this bulge and those nips. It's like, okay.
There's actually a really great
Schumacher!
There's actually a really great interview with George Clooney where he's like, this is how Joe Schumacher would direct me. He'd go, your parents are dead, you're wearing a bat suit, and action.
I like the idea that Joel Schumacher is basically Hawkeye in the Avengers movies. None of this makes sense. I'm in a director's chair. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Well, he did Batman Forever also, right?
Yes.
Okay, Batman Forever.
Which I actually kind of liked.
Yeah. But it's one of those movies that like Batman Forever is also bad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But but the parts that are enjoyable about Batman Forever are Tommy Lee Jones and Jim Carrey, who are basically just doing whatever the fuck they want.
Oh yeah, they're hamming it up
Yeah.
and they are having a good time.
So let me
They're
say it
having
like this:
a good
the
time.
reason Batman Forever and Batman and Robin are so fun to watch for me, it's the same reason the Kevin Costner Robin Hood movie is so fun to watch to me.
That's a good movie.
It is a good movie, but it's good because Alan Rickman had his contract where he was allowed to do whatever he wanted, and he just did whatever he wanted, and that's what makes that movie
I mean,
so
both
good
those
to
movies
watch.
also have people who just cannot do British accents
Yeah.
for the life of them, who are supposed to be British and
I mean,
don't even
famously, in Robin Hood Men in Tights, there's the famous line of like they're talking about what makes Cary Elwes. I
Yep.
don't know how to say his name. What makes
try.
him
Elvis.
What makes Cary Elwes like a good Robin Hood? And he's got the famous line of, "Well, unlike some other Robin Hoods, I have a British accent."
Yep.
Yep.
I love
Yep.
What's great about that line is that it was translated into all the different versions of that movie, and they dubbed over that one line for all the translated versions of what's different about me is I have a German accent, I have a Dutch accent.
That's
Like
funny.
they went to the effort of
That
making
doesn't.
joke
That
land.
doesn't. I don't think that exactly translates. But that's
Still funny.
That's still funny.
Yeah, it's just like they wanted to make sure that everyone got that joke of Kevin Costner cannot do a British accent. It was such a like a biting joke. Like we
Was
gotta
that
make
around
sure
the same
everyone
time?
hears this.
All
What's-
right.
Oh,
All right,
I can
well-
touch on the Game Boy game real fast so we can get that out of the way.
Oh
For
yeah,
the-
you played that.
Yeah. Don't play.
You
it.
just decided to do an extracurricular activity.
Well, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna play it on safe dates. I'm gonna play it on my phone. It won't take me that long. I'll beat it in the day. So I'm playing it, and it's bad. Like you have a gun. You're a little tiny Batman with a gun.
Right.
And you're fighting soldiers. You're fighting robots. I'm like, okay. And you upgrade it. You get a battery. I mean, it's bad, but I'm having fun with it. There's a level where you get to fly the bat ship or Batwing. And that was kind of cool, but the problem with the boss fight, I had to hit that guy. It must have been like, it felt like 50, 60 times. I didn't have save states. I never would have made it. And then
Wow.
what pissed me off is when you get to the end, there's an auto scroller. And if you don't collect the power-ups throughout the level, you cannot do it. You have to be able to kill the enemies in one hit. I mean, it was
wow.
ridiculous. And I was just like, screw this game. And that was the end of that.
That sounds awesome.
All right.
It's not. Don't play it. It's not worth it.
The
It's
Suicide
terrible.
Squad of Batman licensed video games.
Oh, my God. It was.
Let's
it
talk
was
about licensed
bad.
games because we still haven't
Oh!
done that.
No, I had a little thing I wanted to say about that. The first licensed game ever was Raiders of the Lost Ark. And
I looked that up as well.
Oh,
Yeah. I
sorry.
did because I was like, I thought it was ET, and yeah, I was like, what was the first? Oh, it was Raiders.
Yeah.
That's cool.
No, licensed games are almost always like, I mean, especially at this time, they probably would have been bad a lot.
Yeah. I mean, it's a bygone era because this was the time, and they don't really do it anymore. Where they would rush a game out in 2 months so it could be out by the release date of the movie.
I feel like this is just the case with all Spider-Mans, but the Amazing Spider-Mans had licensed games, right? Those weren't that
Yeah.
long ago.
They're actually
That's
decent
true. That
games.
was a few years
Yeah.
ago.
The
Yeah,
Avengers
they're
games
decent.
don't get licensed. The Avengers movies don't get licensed games, really. They get like the Lego games, which I feel like
Oh,
is kind of how, like, that's the way to do it now, is have like a goofy Lego game as your
They had-
licensed game.
They had a couple licensed games: Iron Man 2, Hulk, Thor,
Really?
and Captain.
Okay.
Yeah. Captain America's really good, by the way.
Yeah,
It's
there
just-
there were a few ones at the beginning, but
Yeah.
I think they dropped off.
So I know
Because the
Star
rest
Trek
were
had
bad.
a licensed game that wasn't bad.
Yeah,
not great.
Captain America had that might actually be a decent game
It's
for
a
this
really
show.
good game.
They
Yeah.
had a game that was basically an Arkham Asylum ripoff.
Okay.
It's not. I have it.
I'm gonna be honest. I kind of love because I love like B movies. I love movies that are like they know that they're not gonna be making it into the theaters very long, or they might not make it to theaters at all, or just like old movies that.
They're like, all right, let's just
Did
throw
play
something
well.
together, and
Yeah.
that's what this game is.
And that's what all licensed games are. It's like the B movies of video games of
Yeah,
like
And
we're just
I
gonna
gotta
try our
say-
hardest to make a game.
and that's the thing is that
Yeah.
like going back to that was kind of refreshing and enjoyable in a weird way because like we don't really we're not really in that environment anymore where
They
there's
don't
a ton
market
of
them
that.
at least as,
Yeah.
as they used to. Like you would never hear about, like you would never see a commercial for like
Yeah,
Iron Man 2, the video game. Like it used to be, James Bond movie would come out,
Oh
and
yeah.
then immediately on screen was a ad for the James Bond video game, which, by
Right,
the
and
way,
you would
Agents Under
see
Fire
it-
is fucking
You
great.
would see it on the shelf in Toys R Us, right
They
up in the
did.
front.
Yeah, like World Is Not Enough was super fun. I mean, James
Yeah,
Bond has a long history of
A lot of them are
GoldenEye,
good.
like just since GoldenEye, just licensed games for almost all the new movies.
That I cannot wait for. I am very excited for.
I have a friend who's a huge fan of the who is just a huge fan of the Ratatouille licensed game on
Really?
PS2, which we could play sometime.
What?
It's a 3D platformer.
Yeah.
Is it the
They're
same one
really,
that's on
like-
360?
I don't know.
It's that
Because I
weird thing of like, see, they're B movies and they're not like they're they're not good, or they're not like, they're not great, I should say. But you can tell the people making them just tried their hardest and tried like legitimately tried to do some interesting mechanics and
Yeah,
stuff.
there are some licensed games that like have genuinely cool stuff in them.
like
That's
right.
that's for sure.
007
same-
Agents Under Fire, which I believe came out around the same time as Die Another Day, which did not do well as a movie, but so I think as a result, Agents Under Fire did not do well as a game. But that game had a multiplayer where you could play as like you'd find a drone and you'd take control of the drone and fly around and shoot people. It was like an RC drone that was like a helicopter, and then there was another one that was a tank. And I thought that was the coolest thing, and I hadn't seen that in like many other games up to that point. And then I want to say, oh god, there was a game recently that did it too. And all I could think of was like, this is like Agents Under Fire. I really want to play that game again.
I remember Agent of Fire. I did play that a little bit. But your other question, Ratatouille, yeah, it's the same one I'm thinking of. It's on 360, PS3. I mean, there's a couple versions, but it's a good game. I have played it too. The guy is not wrong at all.
Right.
It's actually a decent platformer.
So we're gonna have to throw Ratatouille on here.
Hey,
Yeah,
if
throw it
that's
on
what
the
he
pile.
wants to choose one of these weeks, I mean,
Agents Under
Well,
Fire,
I think we've got a long enough list for now.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Are
I
there
haven't.
any other licensed games that we could throw? Actually, just any other licensed games that you guys really like that people.
I
probably
mean, we
don't know
could we could talk about this later.
That's true.
So
we have been recording for I think
Yeah.
hour and 20 minutes at this point.
yeah. So do we want to get to shelf or box?
Box.
I have a feeling this is going to be the same turnout as Silent Hill last week.
I'm
Probably.
actually a little bit torn. Like I'm putting it back in the box, but I want it on like the top of the box. I want it toward the top in case I want to pull it back out real quick. Cuz I did enjoy playing, like, on the one hand I was extremely frustrated by this game, but on the other hand I was like oddly charmed by it.
That's good to hear.
I
Yeah,
think about that.
it's a weird game that way. I will put it in the box, but I might take it back out at some point. It's going right back in after that. But I did. It is a weirdly charming.
You're
game.
going to put it back in the box, but you're not going to throw it away. You're
I'm
going to
not
keep
throwing
it
it away. No, I'm
keeping
keeping it under the bed.
Okay.
It's gonna be there. I'm gonna, might
Staring at you with
pull it
Silent Hill.
out some nights, put it under my pillow.
It's going in the storage unit for me, and I'm never looking at it again. But hey, I don't like games of this era that much in general. I'm not these type of games. I don't like platformers, most platformers that much.
Boo.
I like Mario, like certain ones, but this was not one of them. He was too no.
Well, for me, I would definitely keep it on my shelf because it is on my shelf. But
in real life.
I will preface it. I don't know. I will say that it's only because it's such a fond childhood memory, and it's Batman. That's the only reason.
I'm gonna put it on my shelf because it's.
Oh.
I didn't play it as a kid. I didn't even know about it really. So
I didn't either.
I had like the sense that there were old Batman games, but I didn't know what any of them were. I never played them. Never had any interest to play them. And then I don't know. It's just a fun little arcade game. Like it's hard, but yeah, it's fun in the ways of like you break the game, you get a little bit better at it. You get you have your it's like a Hitman where you just find the most efficient way to play it.
Right.
I can
Or
beat this
Mega
level
Man or
now.
something.
Or yeah, like Mega Man. You find out how to play it, and then finding out the breaking point of the game, you're like, yeah, I feel satisfied. and I can pick it up whenever I want and play it for like 20 minutes at a time. Maybe even beat it in 20 minutes.
It's short.
There you go.
It's short. It's fun.
Yeah.
I liked it. It was like the visuals of it really, really well done. It looked like a comic book.
There you
Yeah.
Sounded great.
Yeah, it had a really nice soundtrack.
Mm-hmm. And it's just with those old games, I'm still always amazed at like, oh hey, here's the notes that you can use on a Genesis. Make something cool with this. Whenever that turns out well, I'm just like, yeah, I love that. So
Yeah,
definitely put it on my shelf.
that's a good way of looking at it. Cool.
Oh, and then do you want to talk about the NES one real quick, Stefan, since you're the only one of us that's ever played it for more than the first level?
I guess the easy way to put it is it's basically exactly like the Genesis one. I mean, obviously it's NES, so the level design looks relatively different. But it kind of follows the story beats. It's got different bosses. You can use different weapons. It's one of the only NES games that uses the same thing as Ninja Gaiden, where you can jump wall to wall, and it actually does it better. And then the last thing about it is you actually have 2 boss fights at the end, and they're really hard. It's a really hard game. But other than that, I'd recommend that one over the Genesis.
Yeah, but you made us play the Genesis one.
wait. This one's a better game, so we're gonna play the Genesis one.
Well, it's even with save states, the NES one would frustrate you to no end. It is really hard.
What's funny is that makes me want to play it more now.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
I think you're getting
You might pick that up in between having to listen to another cutscene in Golden Sun.
Oh man, I can't wait for next week. I can.
Oh man, next week's gonna be a good one.
It sounds like everyone's gonna have some pretty big opinions on the next one. So
I got a lot of stuff I want to say, but I can't say it here.
I've got my little notepad is rapidly filling up.
It's a big one, guys.
All right, well, I think and then I'll do a little bit if you want to get that name for that guy.
Yep.
I'll start the okay. Any last words on Batman and Genesis? I think we're just about done.
If you like arcade games, play it.
Okay. Yeah, basically.
Give it a shot.
All right. Well, first I want to thank everyone for listening to our show. I mean, we're actually on iTunes now. You're listening to this recording. I finally got on iTunes after 3 weeks of painfulness with iTunes. Please subscribe to us, as they say in every podcast. We're on Stitcher. We're on tons of different. I've been getting us on all the platforms now, and I appreciate everybody listening to it. If you want to find us, we are in a group on Games My Mom Found on Facebook. There will eventually be a fan page once I get around to it. We're on Twitter. We got some followers now. I tweet about the show. I'll be tweeting here probably tomorrow or Tuesday. So please follow us on Twitter. You can find us I watched the entire Overblood Super Replay on the Facebook group where we're all from. We met each other. And DJ, if you want to say who our great intro is.
All right. So thanks to Mike Stoney, a.k.a. Bulby, for the use of our theme song, The Cool Kids Squad, off his EP, Bite the Bullet. You can find Mike on SoundCloud. You can also find him on his YouTube channel, youtube.com/Bulby, Bulby. He does original works as well as a bunch of really cool 16 and 8-bit covers of other video game tunes. He's a super cool guy. Big thanks to him for letting us use his tune. And check him out.
Does anybody have any last things they want to plug? Stefan, if you want to plug anything?
Not yet.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for listening to our show, and you have a good night.
All right. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Later.
Bye.
Okay, that should be enough time.
Everyone got quiet. Even though we could talk and it could just be faded out.
Just cut it. Yeah, but makes it a little
This is all going to be in, guys.
It's a good couple seconds of silence first.
I'm going to cut that part.
Okay. I figured, but that was fun. It was a good filler show.
Yeah, we